Hi everyone, it's KIREI here from Arden Creative Studio, and I am using the lovely Laurel Grove collection designed by Katie Pertiet. And I am particularly focusing on the sticker book that comes with the collection that you just saw there. And I'll talk a bit more about it as we go through. So to start with, I've pulled out the 12 by 12 solid paper pack. I have got some pattern papers there as well, but I actually don't end up using them. I'm using three of the colours. So I've got that lovely lilac, the yellow, and the green. And I decided I was going to go with a tried and tested grid layout. I do love them. And sometimes when I'm struggling a little bit with a design or trying to think what I'm going to do, actually, a grid layout is brilliant. Whether you go with, I'm using quite a large grid, so I'm using it to fill the whole page. So I'm going with a 4 by 4, but you could do sort of 3 by 3 and make it smaller. Yeah, there's lots of variations on grid design, but anyway, I'm going with this sort of classic. So I'm just there deciding whether I was going to bring in any pattern papers, but I didn't. I stuck with the plain solids, which I'm actually really happy that I did, because there's so much other detail with everything else that I'm layering on that actually having the plainer solid papers as my squares worked really, really well. So I'm just playing around, adding in the last few bits and pieces. But I picked these colours because I felt like it's all about celebrating spring. And I had photos from a very recent weekend. We went down to Kent to stay with my husband's aunt and uncle, and they're lovely. We always have a fabulous time when we go down there. They live right near the coast, and yeah, we went out for the day to Sissinghurst Castle Gardens, which is probably about half an hour from them. And it was lovely. To be fair, we had a perfect day, beautiful blue skies, so perfect for taking photos, which is great for a scrapbooker. And we just had a lovely time wandering through the gardens. Yeah, and just sort of soaking it all up. And there's lots of the pretty spring flowers are starting to come out. So there was snowdrops, there were little daffodils, and all sorts of other flowers. I'm not brilliant at the flower names, but anyway, there was loads of other pretty flowers. So I really wanted to document all of those beautiful spring flowers. So I had a load of photos, and this is probably why this grid design worked well for me, because I had so many photos. I sort of pulled out a load, and I've actually printed them out small, and then they layer up lovely on each of the squares. So I've sort of got two photos on the squares, not obviously not on every square, but yeah, that's what I went for. Okay, so all my squares are stuck down, distressed all the edges, and then I've got all of my photos, and I'm going to I think I end up using 14. Yeah, 14 photos. I'm just doing a quick count here. Yeah, so I'm going with 14 photos, and I'm just pairing them, randomly across the grid. And then I will use some of the other non-photo squares just to create, an embellishment cluster. I will also obviously add a title to one square, and I will add some journaling to another. So with my photos, I've raised all of them on foam pads. So, and then I'm just sort of, because I felt like I wanted to create a bit of dimension. I did, think about, do I want to back my photos with another pattern paper? But I decided not to, and I'm glad I didn't, because I feel like I've got all the colours anyway, the lilacs, the yellows, and the greens, and I'm just adding another colour to the photos. It just wasn't necessary. The white border actually lifts the photos really nicely from the background, and I think that's probably because the squares are a plain colour versus being patterned. So yeah, that worked particularly well, so that was good. And then I've just pulled out some elements from the laser cuts and the ephemera packs, just the sort of ticket pieces and leaves, and some of the words. I've got a couple of little frames in there, and I'm just using those as layering pieces behind my photos. And I will bring in the sticker book in just a moment, so we'll talk about that then. But yeah, so I'm just playing around, getting things stuck down. If things are stuck flat, I'm generally curving up the corners, the edges, just so that I get that dimension that I really like to add to my layouts. Right, okay, sticker book. Okay, so this is actually, to be honest, I only used a couple of little bits from this previously, but there's loads in it, and it's a mixture of clear designs, as you can see here, and washi designs. And you get 5 sheets, and you get one in clear and one in washi. So I'm mainly using the clear because actually I love these sort of floral groupings here, and I'm just cutting them to fit my squares. But this was great for getting almost like another layering, but not adding a load of dimension. So I've got that on the ground. And then I'm layering up some of the laser cut butterflies, and that gives me a little bit of dimension. So I'm just working out with the sticker sheet here exactly which bits I'm going to. I was nearly covering up some of the squares. I didn't need to cover up, but anyway, that's okay. So I picked out the floral clusters in the yellows and the floral clusters in the lilac, and I'm just cutting the pieces that I want, and then I will work with those. So I'm going to add those to a couple of other squares. I did actually use one of the other clear stickers in the florals. I took it off, but I removed that from the video because I mean I didn't end up doing it. So yeah, so I'm going with them. A little fiddly here. I couldn't decide whether I was pulling them off on the which right side, but I do get there in the end, and it is okay. But yeah, getting those down, and I really like the effect that they had, and I used those over 4 squares, and there we go. I did move this on a bit because it takes me a while getting everything stuck down, and to be honest, it's all sort of the same. So I edited that part out, but you can see exactly what I did. So I've got the clear sticker sheets on that top yellow square, on the left yellow square, the right of the title, and then the bottom yellow square as well. So yeah, I really loved how they looked, and I do use some of the clear butterfly stickers and the washi butterfly stickers as well on some of my squares. So now I'm just sort of finishing off getting some of the other pieces stuck down, just finishing the photo squares, just adding some of the little tickets behind them. Again, these come from the ephemera packs. There's 2 ephemera packs actually. There's the page markers and there's the regular ephemera. So I've used bits from both of them. I've used like the frames, there's a heart, I think I've used like a tags, tickets, some banners, and then little word phrases. And of course my title, Delightful, is from the ephemera pack as well, and I've raised that on foam pads also. So just working my way round and finishing off the little clusters that I've got, raising some elements up with the foam pads that I like to do. In fact, I actually raised this up on foam pads, but I get it on, stick it all down. Then I've got that little heart and that circle, and which I actually don't use the little circle with the butterfly in the end. I just stick with the heart. I decided to raise the heart, and then I decided that I think that was a bit much with the heart raised above that tag that was also raised. So I removed the foam pads from the little tag, but I think you'll see that. There you go. I'm removing it now. Yep, changed my mind. So there we go. But again, I've got the bottom and the top edges. They're curved up, so I'm getting a bit of dimension anyway. Okay. What next? Okay, bring back the clear stickers. And these clear stickers and the washi stickers would also be perfect if you're really into using journals, because obviously in a journal things tend to be kept much flatter, and so these would be perfect for that, even like a travel journal if you were doing something. But yeah, they would be perfect. So very versatile to use both on a layout as I have done here, but also in some sort of journals. Okay, so I'm playing around here. I've got little bees. I've got some of the butterflies again. These are from the laser cuts. And I'm just sort of looking at where I'm going to layer them up over each of my squares, because again, for me, this is just about getting a bit more dimension in, making it interesting rather than completely flat. For me, I'm all about layers and dimension, texture. Though my very first layouts, I have to say, were all very, very flat. When I look back at them, probably, what, crikey, 16 years maybe ago, maybe longer actually, maybe nearly 18 years ago. When I first started, everything was very, very flat, wasn't it? And big photos. Anyway, shows how much you change. Okay, so last bits and pieces here. I'm just getting on. I've obviously got a little square that I kept for my journaling, and I do go in and add some of the coordinating enamel dots. I forgot about those. Then I've finished videoing and everything, so I add a little cluster to the lilac square that's on that one I'm working on now, and I add a few enamel dots to above the title as well. So yeah, but I think I'm pretty much almost done. Just figuring out a few more little butterflies. What else can I get in? But I'm really happy with how this turned out. It's definitely a very spring layout with those really pretty colours with the yellows, the lilacs, and the greens. And I loved adding the elements from the Laurel Grove sticker book as well. So here's some of the close-up details. There you go. You can see the stickers there. Really beautiful. Lots and lots of detail in them. I hope you've enjoyed watching my process video and get some inspiration for using this fabulous collection. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.